Hey everyone, this is Darren Maralia, VP of Products at Semperis, and I'm really excited to introduce our new Directory Services Protector, or DSP 3.0. DSP 3.0 is really kind of a groundbreaking release for us in that it adds a bunch of key functionality that customers have been talking to us about and that we've been looking at building into the product for a while. Now, just as a review, DSP is the product that we provide that does real-time change tracking and the ability to roll back changes at the object and attribute level in your Active Directory. And DSP 3.0 is continuing in that capability as well as adding onto it with a number of different security scenarios. So DSP really gives you visibility into what's happening in your Active Directory, who's doing what, and now in 3.0 provides insight into the security posture or vulnerabilities that you might have in your Active Directory, monitoring that on a continuous basis, and then giving you the ability to automatically remediate changes to AD that you know or have considered to be malicious or otherwise not allowed. So there's a lot of capability that I'm going to go through in this demo to show how we've done that and how we've provided you with unparalleled insight into the security and the operability of your Active Directory. So let's just review, because everything from the UI on down, as you can see, has changed. If I go into the changes view, you'll see all of the Active Directory changes that have happened recently. And you'll notice here on the left, I have the ability to filter my view based on created, modified, moved, deleted, and restored. So if I just click modified, I can see only those records that were modified. Similarly, if I click deleted, I can see any objects that were deleted. And again, just like in previous versions, undoing a change is a simple matter of right-clicking it, in this case a deleted object, and restoring it. Now, if I go back to the changes view, there's a couple other things you'll notice here. You still have the ability to see details of a change. I can export any results that show here in this display to CSV. I can do advanced searches based on multiple criteria within the product. This is something that was in our 2.7 release and is carried forward into 3.0. And again, I can quickly and easily hone in on different time periods, different partitions. If I want to look at changes to the config partition, it's a simple matter of selecting that, and all of those changes will appear. Of course, we still support monitoring changes to Active Directory integrated DNS. I choose my zone and refresh the view, and I can see all the changes happening to AD integrated DNS records. And of course, good old group policy, my favorite. I can see any changes that are happening in group policy in either a merged view, a difference view, or in a side-by-side view, and then I can restore or roll back those changes. Some of the things that are new to 3.0 include the ability to automatically remediate changes that have happened in Active Directory that you want to protect against. So what you're going to notice here is, if I come down to the second page, I have this change that I made to the domain admins group. So I added URL to the domain admins group. Now, that's a protected operation, and I'll show you where that's set in a bit. But what happened about a second later is that URL was automatically removed from domain admins. This is a feature we call auto undo or auto remediation, and it allows you to set rules on types of object changes that you want to prohibit while that rule is active. Specifically, if I come into our settings screen and go into notifications, we've had notifications in DSP for a while, but what we've added is this ability to auto remediate or auto undo a change within the rule. So when the rule fires, in this case, I'm looking at the domain admins object in Active Directory, I'm looking for add operations on the member attribute, and when that rule fires, I send an email notification. I create an event in a special event log that we've created for the DSP server, and I automatically undo that event because this is toggled on. Now I'm also doing something called security event classification. I've classified this event as something that is interesting from a security perspective, and so I've toggled that on, and whenever this rule fires, that event will automatically show up on our security dashboard. Now, speaking of the security dashboard, this is another area that I'm really excited about. The security dashboard is the area where we provide security guidance, vulnerability checking of your Active Directory. This screen that you see in front of you is a sort of summary view of the most recent activity around our security indicators. If I click into the indicators, you get to see all of the indicators as they're installed in the system. And you can see here, if I hover over each of these indicators, it describes the indicator and what it's doing, as well as more detail about what it's looking for and possible resolution paths. So these indicators were developed by us based on both industry and our own research, and we actually are continuously updating these, and we've got an infrastructure in place that allows us to deploy these to you as we come up with new attack paths and new indicators of vulnerability within Active Directory. So we can dynamically update these indicators as we find new ways of exploiting Active Directory. Now you can see here that there's different statuses of these indicators depending on their criticality and depending on the threshold that has been set under the criteria column. Now you as a user can decide if you want that criteria to be different and if you want the indicator to be enabled or disabled. The other thing that I'll mention is, as I mentioned earlier, the notifications rule comes with a security event toggle. If that's toggled on, as in the case of this particular event when I added Earl to the domain admins group, that essentially triggered that event to show up here in the security notifications table. So when you have security related events that fire, somebody that's working on the security dashboard will see those events and be able to address them or potentially look into them. And that's another area where DSP really shines. We have essentially this running ticker tape of all the changes that are happening in Active Directory, and using our advanced search capability, you can really get to and get forensic information about who's made a change, what that change was, over whatever time frame you're collecting data for. So this is a really powerful way of going back after an incident and being able to essentially track or find out who's done what within your environment. Just as a review, we have a very detailed RBAC model within DSP that allows us to granularly delegate who can perform what actions within the product. So if you only want a particular help desk group to be able to undo changes and see changes on a particular OU, you can set up that kind of delegation within our model. And again, we also have SIM integration. So if you want to send our change events to your favorite SIM like Splunk or QRadar, you can set up a syslog forwarder on DSP that will send these events, and you can control what events are sent down below here to your favorite SIM. And then finally, one of the areas that I'm really excited about is our ability to deliver both in-the-box and custom reporting. So we have a set of in-the-box reports that we ship by default, and this is just a subset of them, but essentially different categories of reports that you can run either interactively or on a scheduled basis. But then you can also author your own report templates using our report authoring tool, which is now shipping in DSP 3.0. And the report authoring tool lets you create custom reports based on either LDAP queries or queries of our DSP database. You can create these templates, these report templates, publish them to your DSP instance, and generate reports either interactively or scheduled on your own custom reports. In addition, we will be on an ongoing basis publishing new report templates as new scenarios come to us, as new customers ask us for a particular report. We'll make those available to the community so that everyone can benefit from them. And you have the option of either downloading them directly from our cloud service or downloading them from our website and importing them into your system whenever you want. So that's just a quick overview of the power of DSP 3.0 for detecting changes, both operational and malicious changes within your Active Directory, for being able to remediate those changes, And finally, being able to really see the security posture of your Active Directory on an ongoing basis and get insight into areas that might need improvement from a security perspective. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to talking to you further about DSP 3.0.